Ethan Klein is in the news again, and this time it's actually not for something that he did. For once. According to him, he's been stolen from by his network, BBTV, in excess of $600,000. So, how did that happen? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Tom Dark channel. I am your host, Tom Dark, and today we are revisiting the Ethan Klein story. It's been too long, honestly. I think it's been like a month or two since I last talked about this dude. And let's be honest, guys, there's not much else going on, okay? We're gonna talk about Ethan Klein every chance we get here on the Tom Dark channel. The Turkey Tom team, the Tom Dark team, is scrambling for story ideas, and well, anytime anything remotely interesting about Ethan pops up, you guys know we're gonna be covering it. Okay, that's half a joke. I do talk about this dude way too much, but at the same time, like, we do actually have an interesting story today. Ethan actually is the gift that keeps on giving. On April 8th, we got some new tweets from Ethan where he tried to explain the situation a bit for his fans. Hey guys, we're aware that memberships were just paused. We were forced to make some last-minute channel changes because we discovered our MCN at Broadband TV Corp and CEO at whatever that name is took $620,000 from our membership revenue and are refusing to return it. More on Monday. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. This will hopefully be sorted next week. This is an extremely stressful situation, and we're doing everything we can to sort it out. They're in clear violation of our contract and just flat out refusing to return it. So I mean, here Ethan is making a pretty big claim that this company, Broadband TV, or more commonly referred to as BBTV, has stolen a ton of money from him and his wife, particularly from their channel members' revenue. I believe this is on the podcast channel, the H3 Podcast YouTube channel. The account for this company he tweeted out has a whole 21 followers, so I'm pretty sure this is not the actual BBTV account, but he also tweeted at this person, who definitely is the CEO of this actual company, with, once again, a name I cannot pronounce, so I'm not going to try to butcher it. And their account is actually private at the moment, presumably because Ethan decided to go after them and they got a bunch of, like, you know, inflammatory tweets or whatever. But their bio reads that they are the chair and CEO of BBTV. As far as I can tell, BBTV is a media company that also runs a multi-channel network, or MCN. And these MCNs back in the day were basically useful for getting monetized on YouTube. And they would also help with like sponsorships and events and stuff like that. They were a big deal like more like 10 years ago, honestly, on YouTube. For example, initially gaming channels could not make money directly through Google AdSense and instead would have to sign their channel to Machinima to make money. But Machinima and companies like it have a bad reputation of predatory business contracts that take all of the money from their signed creators and in exchange do nothing. And for this reason, these YouTube networks are basically not even around anymore, apart from a few companies that have a select pool of creators that do management and get them sponsorships, etc. I mean, in the modern age, if you talk to any YouTubers, if you're an up-and-coming YouTuber, you'll probably get some emails from some of these multi-channel networks, and generally if you ask anyone, they're going to be like, do not fucking sign up for that fucking service. Do not sign your channel away to that company. No matter what you do not. You will be fucking ruined. Now keep in mind, a lot of YouTubers I know, myself included, are signed to ad agencies that get them sponsors. So basically they get you these ads, and in exchange you give them a small cut of your sponsor revenue, right? Because they handle all the paperwork, they handle actually getting the sponsors, and all you have to do is be like, okay, yeah, I'll take the sponsorship, you know? And you have to make the ad. But Machinima back in the day didn't even actually give you sponsors. What Machinima did was take directly from your ad revenue. Machinima will be linked to your YouTube account. So this isn't like additional sponsors on top of ads. They would take money directly from, like, you know, the overlay ads that Google provides on videos. And in exchange for this, what would they do? Would there be some kind of service they provided? No. Actually, they'd give you nothing. I mean, if you do even just the smallest bit of research around MCNs today, you'll find complaint after complaint about them and people basically saying, stay the fuck away from these companies. YouTube networks are complete scams. They will almost always promise you lots of exclusive benefits that are really just royalty-free music subscriptions and other pointless nonsense that you can get on your own. They take your money and promise that they'll help you grow, but in reality, they often forget you exist and spend their time focusing on extracting large amounts of money out of their most popular YouTube channels. It is much easier to get sponsorships with independent agencies, and in reality, these YouTube networks will not spend time helping you unless you are a very large channel. The only real benefit of joining one is that you're often better protected against false copyright claims, and they have connections that can help you out if something bad happens to your channel. But other than that, it's never worth it and you should save your money. And this is basically the stuff I've been hearing from YouTubers for years at this point, so it's good to see that the general public basically agrees with that sentiment that MCNs are useless. People seem woke to that idea, okay? They're red-pilled on MCNs being bad. Now, if this is the case for BBTV, I honestly cannot say, and I don't know why Ethan was actually signed to this network in the first place. I mean, I imagine he has no trouble reaching YouTube and getting complaints dealt with pretty quickly. Copyright stuff, I imagine, is relatively easy for him just because of how big his channel is and how many connections we've seen him have with people like the CEO of YouTube, or I guess the former CEO of YouTube now, Susan. I even remember when Creepshow Art, God rest her wicked soul, had an issue with channel monetization. She managed to get some help from Ethan in getting her channel monetization back, and it was pretty swift. So clearly he has inroads to the company, and he's able to get issues dealt with pretty quickly, so I don't even see the benefit to being signed to BBTV. But I digress. Ethan is claiming here that he has had a ton of money stolen from his business, more than $620,000. And his way to resolve this apparently was to put some pressure on them publicly to see if he can get them to give back some of his money, or at least release him from this contract given the scrutiny that they'll get. You know, when you have a big name like this in the online world, your words can actually ruin the reputation of any given business that you talk shit about. I believe Ryan Kavanaugh is suing Ethan and Hila right now because he feels that their words and their website they made, comparing him to Harvey Weinstein, basically destroyed his ability to do work in the industry, or that it had the potential to do that rather. And Ethan is very aware of the potential power he has to basically smear people, you know, whether for right or wrong. And in this case, with BBTV, he's basically doing whatever he can to get them to give back his money. He started by talking to them on Twitter, and when that didn't work, he basically decided to end up posting a video about this the same day, explaining the situation and basically trying to rally the troops, so to speak, to get the H3 fan base upset about this, get them to tweet at BBTV, get them to tweet at the CEO, and try to help him out by putting some pressure on the people in question who are not giving him this money back.
Let's see, I joined them in 2017, and the deal we had with them is we would get 100% of everything. Basically, if they brought us like a sponsorship, like let's say Nike was like, hey, I want to put an ad. I want Ethan to read an ad in his video. So if they brought us that, then they would get a cut of that. But everything we made through YouTube, 100% of YouTube revenue came to us. The reason that this was convenient for me is because when we first made our AdSense account, we were in Israel. Now, there's a rule about AdSense accounts. You can only have one at a time. And because it was in Israel, they don't let you change your country. So this whole time, my whole career, I've been using the same AdSense account that's associated with living in Israel. And the only way that I could actually get paid is if I connected to a network and YouTube sent the money to them, and then they sent us the money. That was the only way.
So, I mean, according to Ethan, he was actually not locked into some kind of predatory contract, at least as far as he knew. He was simply being paid through this network because he initially made his AdSense account while he was abroad, right? He was in Israel, so he wasn't able to be paid out properly. So it seems to me like there's no reason he should be stolen from. If this company is meant to give him 100% of the ad revenue, and they're only supposed to be taking a cut from specific deals they get him, like sponsorships or whatever else, right? Well, as Ethan goes on to describe, he actually noticed there was a big discrepancy between what he was paid and what YouTube told him he was supposed to be paid. There was just all this missing cash somehow that was not adding up, right? And from what he could tell, the money in question was being taken from YouTube members, people who go to Ethan to specifically pay him, right? Members are like Patreon on YouTube. By the way, if you become a member on this channel, Tom Dark, you get exclusive content like live stream VODs right after I go live, exclusive podcasts, and a cool name meme in my chat, so check it out. But the idea that Ethan's supporters were having their money directly meant for him siphoned off by some company that he didn't even realize was taking it is just ludicrous, and as far as I can tell, it's completely unjustified. You know, Ethan Klein all you want, I'm not going to be glad that he's having money stolen from him. That's awful. Furthermore, Ethan signed to this company when YouTube members did not even exist, so there's no way the contract could specify that they would have taken a bunch of their members' money when members didn't even exist as a feature on fucking YouTube at the time. I mean, it's insane. The idea of taking the side of this company is absurd to me, but despite that, I've seen people on Twitter celebrating the fact that something bad is happening to Ethan just for the sake of it being something bad, and I guess I just don't agree with that. Furthermore, the contract seems to say that Ethan was to be paid 100% of all the money earned through Google, and yet a bunch of it was just missing. Then again, at the same time, I do have to say, Ethan, you just kind of got to be on top of these things, because no matter how rich you are, no matter how much money you have, bleeding like 500 grand, 600 grand is absolutely insane. You got to get a handle on your finances, big guy. Listen, financial expert Tom here. Just hire me, okay? Let me take a look at those financials. Let me connect my own bank account to your AdSense account, and then pay you. And I promise there will be no missing money. That being said, I will be locking you out of your own Google account so you can't see how much you make on that end, but I promise to be truthful. I'm known for being truthful. And as a result, I think you should hire me as your accountant, bookkeeper, and hire me to steal from you, please. Let's be real, dude. I could use that Bugatti.
This was them silently saying, oh, there's this huge new revenue stream coming in. Let's fucking steal it secretly, silently, and hope they don't notice.
Now, keep in mind, this is not a shut and close legal case right now. We have no idea how any of this will play out in court. It seems to me that Ethan's going to be taking this to court somehow in order to get this money back because he feels like BBTV stole from him. I mean, even the title of this video in question is BBTV Stole Money From Me, in my opinion. And just as a means of putting even more public pressure on them, he even showed the CEO in this video to basically try and get his fans to pick this person as public enemy number one and shit on them and try to recuperate this money that was stolen from him, which honestly, fair play. I don't even blame him for this.
It appears that Broadband TV has been withholding 30% of the sponsorship money going back as far as December 2020, possibly even earlier. The total amount withheld from us, as our records allow us to track, is $619,000, $101.06. As you are well aware, our agreement with Broadband TV, which was established in 2017, clearly states that 100% of all revenue would go to the H3 podcast. The only exceptions to this would be if Broadband TV directly brought us a third-party sponsorship, in which case your company would receive a cut of that specific revenue. It has become apparent that this understanding has not been respected, and I am deeply concerned about the implications of this breach in our agreement.
And, you know, I don't know anything about this woman or what her deal is, if she was directly responsible for this money being stolen, if it was some kind of other employee. I don't know if this money was even stolen in a legal sense. I haven't seen the entire contract. I've seen the lines that Ethan wanted to show the audience, so I really don't know, you know? It's my opinion, however, that if this goes to court, Ethan will probably win because it seems pretty blatant to me, you know, to my layman's eyes. But regardless of all of that, I don't even blame him, honestly, for putting her on blast and putting the company on blast. I feel like if someone stole $500,000 from me, or if I perceived that someone stole $500,000 from me, I would be considering doing a lot worse than making a YouTube video about them. I mean, I would be absolutely furious, especially if it was money that my own fans had given directly to me as a means of supporting my content and making me, you know, more comfortable and supporting my show and directly, you know, trying to donate to me. I mean, this isn't like advertising money. This is money that the fans gave, like, hey, take my money. I want this to go to you. And a bunch of that was going to this other fucking company who had nothing to do with the content. I mean, this company who has nothing to do with anything that Ethan does as a content creator and businessman and does not add any value is taking 30% of their sponsorship money over the course of 3 years. That is ridiculous. Now, following this, Brody Fox of the Yo Mama channel also came out in support of Ethan and said that BBTV is skimming money from him as well. We have the same contract, 100% YouTube revenue, with BBTV from 2017. They've been taking 70% of our memberships as well. Didn't notice till now since it's a small amount and we don't actively push it on our viewers, but I'd imagine other creators would have been affected as well. And following this claim, Ethan put out a series of tweets bashing BBTV, basically saying that they're stealing money because they don't have enough to keep their company afloat. Whether this is true or not, I cannot say, but here are the tweets. I'm hearing reports that BBTV and CEO have been covertly skimming 30% of other people's memberships too. At Team YouTube, if you're affected, can you detail below? Also a disturbing email from this week informing members that they are delaying payments. Not good. And here we have the previously mentioned post by Brody Fox, as well as a tweet from drama YouTuber Cabos, which says that BBTV is delaying his payments. I believe the reason BBTV chose not to pay us back is simply that they don't have the money. They recently took a loan of $20 million to pay off debt, and their stock has plummeted 96%. And so here Ethan is claiming that BBTV is basically a sinking ship and that they're stealing money from their creators to pay off whatever this situation is, right? Because they're in kind of a sinkhole financially. On top of that, he claims that they took a huge loan to pay off debt to someone else. Honestly, I don't have to walk on eggshells around this. I shouldn't say that it's a claim because that part is very much confirmed. They did take out that loan. But he basically paints them as a dying company, a dying dog on its last breaths, and people are just like taking it to the vet, you know, every single fucking vet in town trying to pay exorbitant amounts to keep this dog alive. And following this, Ethan would fire up a live stream where he would be on the air for 3 hours, and for the majority of it, they basically just trashed BBTV and called them a terrible company.
And actually, I was going through preparing the call with BBTV, which you were on, by the way, and Hila had some great moments in there. I thought I even put a note in.
Did I?
Oh yeah, dude. You actually had like one of the really important interjections.
Which one?
where you made him clarify, does the CEO, is she
standing behind this dumb answer that you're
decision?
giving us?
Yeah. Because they were continually trying to avoid, I think they were trying to protect her from accountability. It was clear that this was her decision as the CEO. I mean, who else's decision is it? But Hila kept making them clarify, is this the CEO's decision?
You don't want to mess with me.
Which was, I thought that was so smart. It was so smart.
Now, during the stream, they talked about a call they had with the BBTV higher-ups and basically felt that they were being pressured and threatened into shutting up about the situation. But Ethan was going full scorched earth mode and had the feeling that he would come out on top, so he kept tweeting, he kept returning with his own pressure, you know, he made public statements about it, he talked them, and that's really the only leverage he had in this situation, right? That of the public and his large fan base. And now, following this live stream, we've actually seen a statement from Ethan saying that the morning after this, BBTV decided to unlink their channels from their network, and I guess given the amount of people who reached out and made public statements, Ethan targeting their CEO, calling their company a trash fire, and potentially just harming their reputation, they decided it wasn't worth the struggle to try to keep them, you know, in this contract, right? Whether Ethan was justified in doing these things is another debate. I think he probably was, assuming that everything he said so far is true. You know, a lot of these MCNs are very predatory, and I wouldn't doubt that BBTV is one of these companies that likes to, you know, kind of covertly skim money. So, yeah, it really just seems like a rough situation here. But in the end, I'm kind of glad that Ethan came out on top a little bit. I don't know if they're going to get that money back, but, you know, I'm glad that they were released from that contract.
People started contacting me and saying that the same thing happened to them. Brody Fox. Here's a few examples. Brody Fox says, we have the same contract, 100% YouTube revenue with BBTV from 2017. Same deal I had. They've been taking 70% of our membership as well. Didn't notice until now, since it's a small amount. We don't actively push it on our viewers. But I imagine other creators have been affected. So that's why I was like, oh, this is like a company-wide policy that they decided on, in my opinion. Speculative. Here's a comment from the subreddit I thought was great. He goes, I have the same agreement. I'm reviewing it. It wouldn't surprise me if this was being done to more. And then edit, yep, they've been taking 30%.
Damn. Busted.
Kavos said, I didn't even know this happened. Apparently, well, I'll read this. I've been in BBTV for 5 years. Every month on the 15th of each month, I've been paid for 5 years. Today, everyone receives this email telling us 1 day before being paid that the payout has been moved to next month. And I've seen this shit before, and I know where this is going.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? So this really freaked me out. I was like, oh, these guys are bankrupt. They don't have any money.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
I was like, what the f***? Seriously?
Overall, the situation is just one of those that you kind of have to facepalm at. And to their credit, Ethan and Hila also seem to be aware of the fact that, you know, they kind of got played here, and they must feel really stupid for this because previously they were stolen from by some other MCN, at least in their own words, and they attempted to sign to this new company, BBTV, with the promise that they would get all of their money. And here we are 6 years later, and, you know, yet again, they didn't do the most basic thing you can do to keep track of your money, which is look at it, right? Look at your bank account, you know? But I don't mean to shit on them too much because it's not like I know a ton about running a business or anything. To me, it just makes sense to check your bank account and check your payments to make sure you're not being fucking owned, you know? If you're an up-and-coming creator, then you should be careful right now, boys. Some of these companies are out to get you, and probably, you know, you shouldn't be signing to any of them. Well, anyway, that's about going to wrap up today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like. If you disliked it, leave a dislike. Drop a comment down below with your thoughts on this situation. Do you think Ethan deserved this? Do you feel bad for him? How do you feel about MCNs and BBTV? Always good to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll see you all in the next video very, very soon after you follow my Instagram, TomButDark, for silly selfies and things like that. Yeah, bye. See y'all later. Oh! Fucking Mickey Mouse came out. Sorry about that.